Good afternoon. Am I audible? Am I audible? Am I audible to everyone? Someone, at least someone has to reply it. Otherwise, I couldn't able to know whether I'm audible or not. Okay. So in the previous class, and even I told them, like I told you that you have to submit whatever I said in the previous class, and also you should make a one page or 2 pages of report, right? You have to write the steps that you carried out to complete this task, right? Yesterday I saw only a few of them are submitted. Okay, and also I given the timeline. Uh, Probably this Friday, I think. You just check in the Google Classroom. Okay, yeah, so try to submit whatever the task I given in the last class before the timeline. Okay, otherwise you lose your marks. Hmm? Okay. Okay. So whatever we discussed in the previous class, we'll just continue with the same diagram by configuring some additional things. Okay. So let me made. I will going to do some changes with this network topology itself. Okay. So just what I will do, I will going to delete all this diagram. Okay. Then I will change this topology. Okay. So we know that this is your DSP and this is the network address, and completely this would be your EC department, and we have few nodes, that is MUPA lab and your. Okay, so in the last class, like what we discussed, something, this is your gateway address, and this is the gateway address for this network, and this would be your another IP address, like this address. Okay, and this is your CS server room, and this is your ISP, right? What I will do is not small changes on this ISP network, because that itself is separate network, a service provider network. Okay, what we did in the last class, we just connected one server to our network, and we tried to look at how you could able to access that website, right? By requesting from the client, like any of the PCs in any of this network, and if you click on that IP address, the server IP address, you would able to get, you would able to see the web page on your browser, right? So we'll do something like what is called DNS here. So here we very difficult to remember this IP address, right? Because there are lots of domains are present now in the internet. Not only Google, there are so many websites, or so many websites are hosted in an internet, and every website has its own host address. Host address is nothing but an IP address, and we is very difficult to remember all those IP addresses. Even though if they are promoted, it's very difficult to remember. You could remember at least 1 to 5 or 10 numbers. You could able to remember the IP address, but we have lots of websites, or so many things are hosted in your webs in the internet. So the thing where we comes into picture called domain name, like www.google.com, yahoo.com, sjc.ac.in, so and so forth. It's very easy. Like instead of remembering those numbers, we could easily remember this website addresses or URLs, or what you call domain names, right? Easily you can remember it, like sjc.ac.in. At least otherwise you will just type those address like sjc dot. Even if you type .com, the search engine, Google search engine gives the relative domain sjc.ac.in or .org or something, whatever actually the domain name is existing in the internet. Even though if you type a mistake domain, like a wrong a domain name, so that would itself gives what exactly the domain name is. If you type any numbers, you are not able to find what exactly you're looking for, right? If you type the Google IP address, which any one of the number which you have missed, You couldn't able to find what exactly the domain, the IP address of your Google server. That's where we have something, a service called DNS. So DNS stands for domain name server or domain name system, whatever you call. Both were same. Okay, which helps to translate or which helps to map from your domain name to IP address or from an IP address to domain name. So this is not from an IP address to domain name. I would say that it's going to map from your IP address to domain name. So let us look at how this could happen. Like either we or the service provider we're going to maintain this database in its organization or in its network. Let us say if we are the one we are maintaining this domain name servers, okay, whatever the request the client in your network would, would send that request to that domain name, would able to easily get to know what is the IP address of that domain or that website. Okay, the most of the time this service would be provided by your service provider. So let's change your service provider network and look at how this domain name, like how this IP, like your domain name is get resolved to an IP address from your end. Okay, what is the changes I'm going to doing here? Something I'm changing this network, the service provider network, by adding some more servers. Among them, one server we keep the role of DNS. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, let me keep this as it is. So whatever this we chosen as in Google, as a Google server, we'll keep the same, and the IP address we gave for this is .2. Okay, just go back and see the previous one, like or whatever you did this in your own laptop. Okay, and let me name this as like a Google server, something like that. And I would like to add some more servers where you could, okay, so you would able to come to know how exactly Yahoo server something like that. And then I would like to give an IP address for this in the same network, 172.168.0.3. Okay. And I used to take one more server where I call this server as DNS server, which does a role of DNS. On this server, I'm enabling this DNS. That's it. Then I close and I put the IP address like 172.168.0.4 something. Okay. So have these are all the servers, the end devices at your service provider network. So then I going to connect all this server with uh, a switch or what you call a multiplexer. Connect all this to a switch, and I'm going to use a router to connect this network, this local network or the service provider network to a router. And this router is going to connect it to your your organization router, okay, or your company network or company router something. Okay, I'll take this interfaces to connect to all these devices, and I will connect this also, and I will connect to this also. Let me make this very clear to see all this labeling and all. Okay, DNS server, Google server, and this is .4 and this is .3.2. Okay, so what I will do, I will going to change this address and I will assign here, because this whole network is now as 172.168.0.0/16. Okay, then I will going to choose another network which is going completely different from these two. So let us take here some address like 131.1.0.0/16. Okay. This is another network I chosen. Okay, what is 131.1.0.0/31, and this is your public IP. Okay, this completely a private, and this is also private, and this is your public IP, something like that. And even we need not to worry about what is public, what is private now, because when it comes to a NAT concept, so then we have to think of what is public and what is private. So the moment now you have to understand how this address, like your domain name, is get resolved to an IP address. Okay. So I decide upon, like, this is your ISP network right now in the right side. This, so after this, like whatever router we have here, to the next in the right side, it is completely a ISP network, and this is your local network, and this link is where it providing a link to access this Google or like Yahoo server from the internet. Okay, let you should understand this would be your internet work connected all your Google, Yahoo, so and so forth server, and this ISP is maintaining some additional service server or service like we call DNS. It's just a database where it helps to resolve from domain name to an IP address. Okay, so what we'll do now is just again from we're going from the very first thing, assigning an IP address to each device from this part, because this would already be assigned. We are not doing it again one more time. I'm taking this from your last experiment so that I don't want to again assign and assign in default gateway. So we already aware about that, right? Okay, what I will do, whichever the devices is not get assigned with this IP address, we are going to assigning it now. Okay, so click on this and go to desktop IP configuration. Then I will assign this IP address 172.168.0.3 and tab, and the default gateway must be 0/1. I'll copy this and I'll paste it and change the last of it to 1. Okay, and I will close this. Okay, so the next one, madam, madam, yes, ma'am, huh? The next one, we are assigning an IP address to this is 172.168.0.4. Then with the default gateway is 1. And default gateway is where we giving address to this interface. I'm going here and I'm going to the fast Ethernet 0/0, and now I'm assigning this to 172.168.0.1. And then enable this port, close this. Very simple as it. The next thing is we have to assign an IP address to these two interfaces as what we decided, which is 131.0.1.0.0. Click on this, then go to configuration and go to that specific interface, which is Ethernet 0/0/1. Here you can see that label, and assign this to 131.0.3, 1.0.1, and the subnet mask is same. And check this port. Okay, then close this and go here, click on the same configuration and select this interface, which is FA0 fast Ethernet 0/1, and assign this IP address dot 1.0.2. Then tab, you will get the default subnet mask. Then click on this port status on. Okay, closed. Okay, so this is the small changes I did. So to this, compare with your previous one. Okay, I've added some more server, and I changed this with another network, and this would be complete an ISP network, which is 172.168.0.0/16. Okay, just let me label this network also. So this is your ISP network. Okay, this is your gateway, ISP gateway. Okay, this is your ISP gateway. Okay. This is your ISP gateway, where this from here onwards they're connecting to our customers. We are the one customers, so we are connected to ISP network, and we get the service called internet service. We would try to access the internet. Okay. My question is, after you did this, whether you would able to reach this network, whether you would be able to reach this network, this ISP network from your network after you connected and all, and assigning this IP address. My question is that whether we would be able to reach from this network to this network. If yes, how? If no, how? Why? Can anyone tell? Yes, Justin, like I'm not asking specifically like you should answer or you should answer. I'm just asking in general, like anyone can answer. Okay. Whether I could reach this network and how you'll check that whether I would able to reach this. How you'll check the reachability from one network to another network. Anyone? Pinging from the device. Okay. Okay. You have to ping, use the command like ping followed by the destination address. This is a one way we will check the reachability. Okay. Whether I, for this network, whether I could reach that, I'm able to reach this network or not. Hmm? Any answers from your side? Okay. Sharath, I said like routing. No, sir. Routing is not done for the next stop. Yes, correct. Because if you see here, as a packet comes towards this destination network, first it will decapsulate this network address, the network header, IP header, and check the destination address and handwidth and so on and so forth. Right, the forwarding technique. If you check the routing table of this, okay, I'll use this. This routing table, we will not able to find the entries to this network, which is 172 dot something, right? When the packet comes, obviously it will drop the packet. We'll check now. Okay, it will go to the simulation mode. Okay, and I'll create this event. I'll simply create a packet like from here to here. Okay, I'm checking whether I could reach. See, this packet will not forward after this router. It will not go from this hop to this hop because it will not find where is the route is. After this, you can see it is again coming back because it doesn't know where that should packet move. Where that your routing it comes into picture. Like forwarding techniques and routing techniques, we understood. You already studied, right? When you have an entry in this router towards this network, then this would be possible. And the same way from here onwards, this router would knows only about this network, the locally connected network and this network, but it doesn't know this remote network, which is not locally connected. Whenever this router having an entry over these two networks, then obviously the packet would be forwarded. And this could be done in two ways, either statically that you can configure. So how the statically we can configure when we know where the remote network is connected, or else you are enabling some routing algorithms, protocols, routing protocol, which helps to dynamically find where that remote and that will be entered, updated in its routing table. Okay, we have different routing protocols, RIP, then we have something OSP of EIGRP, BGP, so on and so forth. All these are routing protocols which enables to gathers or it enables to collect all its remote network information and will keep in its database. So if any packet comes to that remote network, it will simply forward it to the source where that that routing information is collected. Okay. So as of for today, we'll do something called static routing. I'm manually entering on this router in the information about this destination network because I know that where this destination is connected and how is connected and who is the next stop. Okay. To configure this, we need three things. One is what is the remote network address, what is the subnet mask, and what is the next stop. Whenever configuring the static information, the static routing means manually entering this route information on the router. We need three information. What is the remote network address, means IP address, what is the subnet mask used, and the next stop address. Okay. So we know that the remote network address is 0/0. We are right using the major network ID, not any of the IP address. Okay. So 0.0, then subnet mask is we go with the default, and the next stop address is where this remote network is actually connected to the next router where this interface. The next stop address is the address of this interface, the opposite routers, its interface address, because these two are belongs to the same network, so that we have to write this IP address as a next stop address, which is 2. I'm adding this entry to the this routing table. I entered this routing table, and if I see the same command, and see here we have only three entries. All these three network entries are locally connected. One this dot 1.0, 2.0, and another one is which one? 131. 131 is this one because this is also locally connected, right? After once you did this static routing, okay, if I give the same command, you will see one more entry which you added. Okay, so what I will do, exit, so that is not happened actually. So what I will do, I will do one more time. So which is 22.168.0.0 is 255.255.0.0 is then the next operator is 1.1.2. Give that in the privilege mode. You should be in configuration mode, right? And giving this command and enter. After you did this command, like you just check the routing table, again it is not updated. So I will just reboot. I'll just reboot this router because it is not taking any other commands like what we did. So just simply give reload, confirm, and it's reloading now. Wait for a second. And now it is up. Okay, click here, then start, enable, configure terminal. I will explain all this like what are the commands I'm giving probably in the next class. So today is also something you are using a GUI. Okay, the later classes. So we are going to start working with on this commands or CLI terminals. Okay, so IP route, the destination address is 0.0, then the subnet mask followed by the next stop address. Check this show command we always use. Show means display. You will see one more entries would be added, right? And it is representing this route is S. Yes, if you search here is nothing but static. Means the network administrator has to enter this information. If you know that information, then only you could enter it, right? Because since this is a small network, we know what is the destination address, what is the mask they used, everything we know. Okay, then we can able to give this address. Okay, and I manually entered it. And the same way you should also do on this part. Okay, on this router, go to this command line, or you can go and give here in the GUI itself. Go to routing and static. How many networks are there here? There are two networks. Like I must give both of them. Or what I will do, I will give you only one, and one I will not give. We'll see the difference, like whether you could reach or not. Okay. Then check the next stop address is 131. The address which is to this, which is the next stop. The next stop is this, and address of that is the next stop address is 131 dot 0 dot sorry 1 dot 0 dot 1, and add this rule. And again, see if I see here, it is not been added. So actually, so it's supposed to added here in this space. If I click on this, see it is showing whatever I do on this GUI, you would able to see the equivalent iOS command. So I given the same, but here the inconsistent address and the mask. What is the problem here? The mask whichever I given is not it's not a proper or a default address. Okay, if I click now, so see it will be added. Okay, and the same thing would also verify in the command line, which is do show IP. See here, there are two entries exist in already, right? This one network and this one network. These two are local networks to this router, and one remote network which has been added by a network administrator, and that address is about this network, this remote network, which is 192.168.1.0/24. And these two, whatever you see here, 1/0, it's actually the representing, okay, the administrative distance. Okay, sorry, this the first one is there, right? It's actually a vector of the first value represent the how many hop counts, the hop numbers are how many hop counts you have between those, and the next slash, this is called as administrative distance. Okay, administrative distance, something we already discussed, right? Administrative distance is nothing but it gives the trustworthiness. Means because this will like we I will try to cover this in the next classes, like when we are discussing about RIP, EAGRP, and OSPF. For a moment, you must know these two values are like hop counts and the administrative distance. I will give you an example like what is administrative distance. The moment you must know administrative distance is nothing but it gives with some values. It gives with some number, an integer that tells the root trustworthiness to the router. Okay, here it is 0. Lesser the administrative value gives the more trustworthiness. Okay, so we'll come to this part later, because here 0 means the network administrator has assigned this, so that the router will comes to know this would be an, okay, this would be an a more trusted route. Okay, probably we will look at any other like RIP or something. So we will see different AD values. Like in RIP, we use 120 as an AD value. For EIGRP, we use something like something we use. I didn't remember that number. Okay. Otherwise, even you can Google it. AD value for anything BGP, anything, you will see that. AD value for this is, sir, for this OSPF is 110, for RIP is 120, for EGP is 140, and ISIS is 115. And similarly, we have different AD values for different routing protocols. We will look at that in later classes. Or for EIGRP is 90. Okay, the very trustable route is your static route, the very first. Okay, the next one is EIGRP because it has its AD value is 90. For OSPF is 110 and RIP is 120. Among these two, which is a trustworthy route? OSPF and RIP? Can anyone tell? Can anyone tell among these two? See here, OSPF has an AD value is 110 and RIP is 120, which is a more trustworthy route. Huh? Is OSPF because it has a trustworthy value of 110. Like let us say if this router could able to get the routing information on both routing protocols, RIP as well as OSPF, if that router able to learn on these routes from both routing protocols, it's not going to consider RIP because it as a least trustworthy. Okay, it's going to consider OSPF. Whatever the OSPF gives this routing information, route about route, so it will take that route for the routing. It will deny the RIP's routing information because it is least trustworthy. Okay, among these three, if I take RIP, OSPF, and static route, so we will not going to consider these two routing protocols. We'll take the static because it has a least AD value, which is 0. Okay, I think my point is clear right now. Okay, we'll discuss in this detail, even by seeing some experiments like by changing this AD value and so on and so forth. And this plays an important role in the previous experiments. At least the moment you must know what is an AD. Okay, because when we are discussing about all this IGRP like our O routes, IA routes, NI, N1, N2, or even E2, or external routes. So all this is going to be like very understandable when you know this AD values and all these things, because we majorly we use this concept in EIGRP. I think I given some understanding about this. What is here S stand for static, and this is op count, one op count, and the AD value is 0 because that is what the AD value given for static route, and the via is the next this interface. Okay. So what I will do now, so the same thing like what we did in the previous class, I enabling this HTTP service, and I will go to the index page and I will change this to the respective that server, like whatever we named it. Okay. Thing like this, I'll save this, and similarly I'm going to change for this also to see the changes. Okay. So in the welcome line also I'm changing this to Yahoo, and in the header also I'm going to change it. I'll save this, click OK, close this. So these two servers enabled with HTTP or web server, something like that, Yahoo and Google web servers, and I'm going to enable this as an DNS. You'll see here, if I click on this server, you'll find as it is. Okay, got physical configure, physical how this would looks like the server with multiple hard disk and so forth. Like configuration, you will see the service tab. Okay, click on the service tab. Here you could see what are the different services you would be able to enable here. You would able to enable HTTP, DHCP version 6, TFTP. So we'll come to this part. What is TFTP? Trivial file transfer protocol, and also we have something called DNS, system logs, AAA, authentication, authorization, accounting, something like that, AAA, NTP, network time protocol, email, FTP, IoT, VM management, and this is one more protocol we used in security, is Radius protocol. Okay, these two are security related, AAA and Radius. We'll look at that in kind of coming experiments. Okay, so I'm going to click on this DNS. Is very simple. So default it will be the service will be okay, not enabled, disabled actually initially. You click on this service on, and you just give the domain name, the name which you would like to give that, which is google.com, and it is a record. A type is a record. Okay, don't change to any C name or SOE or NS record. It is an A record only. We'll come to this part later, like what is A record, or you only just Google it. What is A record? The types of record types in DNS, like you'll be able to see what is A record and C name, what is, and we will use for different types. We'll defaultly keep this a record, and I will use to write to this domain name what is the IP address is exactly assigned, which is 172.168.0.2, and just click add. I'm creating just a database where I'm going to entering this name and the address. That's it. I'm not doing anything else. It's just like a two column table, keeps the domain name and the IP address and the type, something three columns. Okay. Whenever you request sent a DNS query sent to a DNS server, it will check that domain name, it nets that column, the name column. If it is exist, then it give back the DNS answers with that IP address. That's it. I will show you that in simulation mode. Okay, then I'll keep this name for Yahoo server, something yahoo.com, and this A type only. And I used to give uh, the IP address of that server and click add. So it says invalid IP address because I typed two dots over here. I'll just remove it and I'll just add it. I created two entries over here in a DNS server, just an three columns information, name and the IP address. Okay, and where this information is, who going to hold or who going to maintain this information? Your ISP. Even you can maintain if your network is too big, or else defaultly your ISP will maintain all this since they are the one providing this internet service. They keep record all this the publicly hosted servers or information like any hosted uh, uh, anything which is hosted or publicly launched hosts. Okay, just like that, you just click close. First, the thing is what you have to do. First, you just check whether you could reach those servers. Okay, how you will check? You just ping that 172.168.168.0.2. Okay, the last, see in the last I'm getting the replay means I would able to reach because probably this would happens like the three packets may get failed, but the last may you will get it sometime. Okay, if you click on next one more time, you will get from the starting itself. I'm able to reach this all this network. Once you would able to reach one device in a network, probably you would able to reach all the network in that all the devices in that network. Even if you try with dot three, even if you try with dot four, you would still able to reach those network. Okay, even if I'm try with dot four, you would able to reach that network. Okay, that is the very first thing you did. You have to do it. We have to do it. The next one you have to check with this. Instead of the last time we gave something the IP address, right? Instead we are trying how we do in real time, like www.google.com. You just check enter. The host name is unresolved. So what is the problem? What is the problem might be here? The host name is unresolved. Means it doesn't know where actually the www.google.com is hosted. Means you would have not able to resolve this domain name to an IP address. Means that device would not able to get the what is exactly the IP address of this domain name. Means somewhere we are missing with giving what is the DNS server here. We are not given any DNS address here, right? Because we know that once you are taken any service from service provider, they're going to give three main points. Like they're going to give with three addresses. One is your IP address, then the gateway address, then the DNS address. Okay, they're going to provide with your when you take any connection. Probably you will not be aware about because the technical person will come and do all this such configuration and you'll go away. If anything's happened, you directly contact them, sir. Is not getting you are not getting things, but you are not even try what exactly it's happened. Why you are not able to get the internet? Okay, so as an engineers, you guys have to look in like what is the DNS, what is the DNS address which is assigned to my network if you are connected with any broadband services or like that. Okay. So what exactly I must assign here? So this is actually a DNS server in an ISP, and he is going to give this address as a DNS server address. Okay. So what I will do, I will going to type whatever the IP address is assigned to the ISP, and this information will be provided by your ISP itself. Don't worry. Huh? Sir, you can ask like, sir, how I could know what is the DNS IP address? Right? Probably that would be the questions would comes in. So this information is actually given by your ISP. So ISP will provide the network address, will provide the subnet mask. Subnet mask at default it will comes whenever provide an IP address supposed to give the subnet mask also, and you will provide the gateway address, and you will give the DNS. Okay, so this is what the DNS. With my experiment, I would know like what is the DNS address. Even if they are not provided, you can easily ask like what is the DNS address. Okay, so click on the same thing over here and assign this IP address as well to every device. And even you can make this automatic whenever you configure a DHCP. Okay, whenever you configure a DHCP, it will automatically assign an IP address, right? IP address, subnet mask, and a default gateway. Along with that, you would also able to enable what is the DNS server. Default DNS server should be assigned to whichever the devices is get connected to my network. If you have enabled within DHCP service. Okay, something like that. Okay, I'll enable this to all this network, and similarly, we're going to give that to each and everyone. And I will close. So what we looked at, I would able to physically reach this network, but I would not able to get the web page, right? So now if I give that www.google.com, if I check enter, you would able to see that web page, isn't it? Yes or no? Now this host, the host address can able to resolve, means you would able to find what is the IP address, then that web page will be displayed. Similarly, if I change to yahoo.com, you would see that Yahoo webpage. Okay. So this what exactly we do in real time. Like if when you open your Google like browser, so we'll simply type on this google.com something, you will immediately get displayed with this web page. Okay. I'm not given an IP address. So but we did that in the previous lab. And similarly here, okay. Now whatever you give in real time, how we do, if you give the same web the domain name or URL google.com something dot c, and you will see that web page. Okay, clear? So I'll show you the same thing with the simulation mode. I'll just go to the simulation mode and I'll click on the next device which I have not used earlier. Like I'll go to this website again, that web browser, and I give this one google.com the same as it is and click go. Okay. And now you can trace how this packet has been initiated by devices and how this would travel over a network to get display that web page. Okay. So when in the moment you click go, the very first you must resolve that. So DNS to, sorry, the domain name to IP address. So along with that, you will see an ARP packet is initiated because I have to resolve what, because this PCA first is when you are doing it, first you have to resolve its what is called the default gateway to find where the default gateway is, right? Because everything is new when you turned on, and this is happening dynamically. Means whatever the information that devices, the networking devices gathers, it's not going to be static. For few moments that may get erased and again new information will be updated. Okay. So click forward. So this is an ARP packet. If you see here, I'm just broadcasting with this FFFFF broadcasting address, MAC address. From this source, this is dot 3, 192.168.3 to a destination is which one? The gateway address, this dot 1. Because this device is unaware about where is that gateway. So I'm just looking out the gateway resolving that IP address, like the MAC address. I'm getting that MAC address of that gateway. I'm resolving it first time. Just broadcasted. See, it will be broadcasted since the destination and MAC address is a broadcast address. Since it will be broadcasted, and then it will check its IP address, destination IP address, and destination IP address. These two will not match, so this will come denying this package, and that would reach here, and where the destination is matched, and that only the device is sending the response. Okay, and you will see here it giving out its MAC address. Okay, to this destination. So once it's sent to that, then it's get ready with the DNS query. And here you will see in the right hand side, it is sending now a DNS. Okay, and I will show you that part also. DNS request query as sent, and this would send to here. And if I see here, if I click on this, see what is the destination IP. Since this is an DNS query, so it's going to send an IP address whatever you given as a DNS server. It is 172.168.0.4. Okay, and you just simply forward it, and and this router knows where actually this network is 172.168.0.4, and it will forward it here. Once this router comes again, it will knows where actually that device is, and it will reach this DNS server. And if I click on this packet, see here itself where the device can able to process up to an application layer, because there's here itself where it matches, it will clears this layer as well as this layer and as well as this layer, right? Because when you want to clear the each layer, it has to match with its destination MAC as well as destination IP, then the destination port number and the application. Okay, so it here it see, if you see, it matches with this destination one, so it's okay, it's correct. And it will also it will know whether this port is running, running with any process. Yes, it is running with this DNS, enable that service, and then it will look at what it needs to be there. So the DNS server receives a DNS query, and name queried resolved locally. So whatever the name you queried, it will resolve it locally by checking its database, right? Good, checking its thing. Okay, this is what this you can see here. If you open this next inbot PDU pack details, you will be able to see each header information. Okay, if you could see here, it's an UDP. I know that we know that DNS use UDP in the transport layer. So, and the source port number is 1025 and the destination is 53. So this is a well-known port number used for DNS services, 53. Okay, and what is the DNS query here? The DNS query is what? The name is google.com. The type is 4, class is 1, and TTL is this, and length is this. So this is what you are queried. So the outgoing packet from this device is what? Here you could see here uh, the DNS answer. Answer is the name is this, type is 4, class is 1, TTL is this, length is 4, and here it is going to send the IP address of this name, domain name, C172.168.0.2. Okay, still that packet is here itself, then it will send that information to back to that my client. Once this reach, then it will start its default HTTP. Okay, it will then now build a connection to that server. Once that connection is established, then the request, HTTP request, will be sent. Okay, HTTP sent, still you will not display because that response has to reach your client. See, now I think you would be able to see the web page. So this is how exactly we are using, and this is how the network is built. Any doubts? Any doubts? Rahul, Rajkumar.
No, sir.
Okay. What about some questions from Karthik? What about ARP in ISP network? Okay. So ARP, what we know, what that did not happen. Okay. So what is an ARP request? Just whenever you don't know about like something a gateway or any address, like any remote device, it's going to resolve from an MAC address to an IP address. Means, sorry, from an IP address to MAC something. Okay. So that helps to resolve that address. Okay. If you don't know these things addresses, we use something called ARP or ARP. If you do the next time, probably that would not be done again one more time. So that will not be happen again. Whenever the device is connected newly, it has to discover some information about the gateway or any other device. Probably it will do this request like ARP and RARP. Probably in the next time it will not doing it since that information gets stored or cached locally. Karthik, understood? Probably here we not see we not saw that here in an ISP because that may automatically will be done. Okay. Okay, because you just unmute and talk like Karthik. Okay. So okay, I'll clear your doubts. Okay. Because like this is the device where it is initiating this web page. And since this doesn't know where this IP address, the MAC address of this, because since we are required to put that in the data link to discover locally, right? Probably at this time it would not be required, or it might resolve it before itself to send back the response. That is what the meaning of. Otherwise, you would have think like probably this would also resolve its IP address. Sorry, this MAC address of this gateway, and then it can send the response. You could also think like that also. Okay, that is not a question. Big question. Huh? Okay. Any other questions from your side? Ankit, Saubhagya, any questions? Or anyone else like Arun, Louis, Bhavana or Bhargav, Gopal?
Sir, that first assignment which you have given, you have told us to do the first experiment, no, sir?
Oh, the same thing. Whatever I given in an instruction class, same thing you have to do it and write and report on it, and you have to submit it.
Only the class part or that experiments we should
No,
include
no,
that.
no, 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 no. Whatever I given in an instruction class, the same thing you have to exhibit, or you should do it and write it and report on it, and you have to submit. ನಾನು
Okay,
ಏನು
sir.
ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಅದೇ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಗಿವ್ ಎನಿ ಅದರ್ ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ಟಾಸ್ಕ್ ದೆನ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಇಟ್ ದಟ್ ಒನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸಬ್ಮಿಟ್ ಇಟ್. Yesterday in the last class I given only one experiment. Probably this time I will give this one and the next another one. Okay, these two has to be done and you have to write and report on that experiment and you have to upload it to a Google Classroom. Probably
Okay, sir.
everyone have received a post in a Google Classroom. I think yesterday I created. Okay. Rahul?
Okay, sir. Sir,
Okay.
the report should be handwritten or typed.
Anything.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes or no? No, understood, not understood. Hitesh,
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್.
ಏನಪ್ಪ ಏನೋ ಡೌಟ್ ಇದೆನಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್.
Okay. Okay. Is this understood? You clear? So when you're writing a report, I would just like to mention some points here because so many of you are not writing that properly. I just given one examples like where the assignment is submitted by Prarthana. Okay, it's just like whatever I did, the same thing is she written and submitted. Actually, I just appreciate that like I did everything and he submitted. Okay, the same way you should also follow. You guys have to follow. Okay. Okay, you see, only few of them are added. And also, once everyone submitted, I would like to post like the marks that you which I awarded. Okay, I've not written. If I click the written, you would able to see what is the marks awarded to your submission. I'll just show you Pratana's attachments, whatever she submitted. Okay. She submitted two things like every like when you upload anything towards this lab should assign with these two. One is your packet tracer file and the PDF. She submitted everything. She written in details like what he is going to do in this experiment and the network topology diagram and the procedure and the screenshot. So we need like this the format you should follow. So at the end, you must also include the screenshot. Otherwise, it will not give any inference. Okay. Simulation in both in the real time as well as in the simulation mode. Whatever I do here, the same thing you should follow and you should conduct it. Or else I will tell, even I will guide you like what you should be done. So something which I already did in the previous labs or experiment, will not doing it same thing in the next, probably in the next classes or in the next experiments that what we are conducting. So what we'll do, I will just tell that I will refer that like whatever we did that you should also follow for this experiment also. Then you should write, you should also follow the same thing and you should also maintain this report like this. Okay, she's done very well. Okay. Uh, Same thing you should also follow for the next experiment. Okay, clear? Clear?
Sir,
Yes,
to
yes.
the people who already submitted, the
Mhm.
report is in the same way that Pratana did it. Should we do it again for the first experiment or should we follow it
It's
from?
not required for first experiment. For the next, whatever you follow, for that you do it like that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, and the next one, this is the one experiment you must do to change this network, ISP network, and see this both in real time and the simulation time. You would be able to understand what is DNS and everything. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? So the next one is the one assignment I'm going to give to you is this diagram. I just given diagram, okay, and you only have to do it. So the diagram itself tells everything what you're supposed to do. This is the network diagram. Something is challenging here is integration, like integration ourselves, make this enabling this network by doing this subnetting task. So actually, this figure tells tells or improves your subnetting skills. Like here in this network, okay, it's named with all its IP network addresses and given the number of requirements for this. This is think of this would be on one network. This would be another network. This would be another network like that. This would be another network. This would be another network. This would be another network. Another. Okay, like that. So here, why I have not added the end devices here? That makes looks very difficult. This network. That's why we are not added the end devices. So what you will do? First, take this network diagram. Okay, write it in a page or somewhere else, or you can even use in your laptop or something like that. Okay, so just write down all this network. or you'll do this subnetting by each taking one network. That you can call this as block 1. This is block 2 network address, block 3. Okay, then you have block 4, something like that. Okay, and this is the one something you can think of. This is the head office where it's connected to 3 branch offices, 3 or something like 4, 5 branch offices. In the each branch offices, I have different networks. Okay, like this. And in each network, I need some requirement. How many IP addresses I would require? Here it is 60, 60, 60, 60. Something you can remember. What we did is FLSM. We remember, right? You remember, right? FLSM, fixed length subnet mask. Whenever the requirement is same, then you will do a fixed length subnet mask. Then will comes to this part. This part again, all this networks needs 1000. Okay, when this part comes 5000. Okay, again when it comes here, again it is 30. Again it is an FLSM. If you see this task or this given assignment is completely on FLSM, and you should do this FLSM and based on this whatever the address is given. Along with this, so what you must do, okay, I'll just clear this. So it removes everything. So what you must do here with this, you must do okay, you must do what is this available address space, okay, 256, and how many are assigned and how many are remaining. How many addresses are allotted and how many are remaining for this network, one network. And for this also you must do the calculation and you have to write. Then you can also name this as B1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Here B2, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. Then here B3, 3.1, 3.2, 3.4, like that. Okay. Then write the range for that. What is the starting address, ending address, and what is the valid IP address for this is B1.1. Okay, 1.2. What is starting address, ending address, then the middle, the valid IP address, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, like that. For this also you must write the range. After you written the range, how many are used? What is the total? Here it is 60, 60, 120, 240. So 240 addresses are allotted. Total is 256 because this is class C. 2 to the power of 8 is 256 minus that it gives the 16 hosts addresses are available, which could be used future in further in or later. Here if you take this is class C, so that we will be able to get 65535 and the here they required is 4000. Probably we would be having still 61,000 address approximate. Same thing you must do here also. 55510 means 20 means we still available with 45,553 address. You have to write all those information in your report. And also here if you do here, here is where you'll see /25. 128/25 you have to do it in again 2 parts, having this 30. Okay, do it and create a network like this. Okay, put one end devices to each network and assign an IP address from that address. Okay, then valid IP address, then assign a gateway to this also. Gateway. Only one IP address, and you'll check whether you could able to communicate. And you do the routing also. Either you could use static or default, so and so forth. You do static, whatever you did right now, and come with your answer. Okay, if any doubts to this, pertaining to this or to this question, you have any doubts? Any doubts? If you have any doubts, you can ask. Okay. So then I will keep these two, not one what I explained, because if you know when you listen, then only you will know what should be done. Otherwise, you will not able to do that. So if you are listened whatever I just taught now, then you do it. This experiment what I shown in this one, and write a report and upload both this .pkt packet file and the doc file, and then I will post this diagram in your classroom so that you will be able to get this question. Okay, and also I will give on the instruction. Okay, clear? Clear? Cleared or not? And Rapa, I'm taking this attendance. Total strength is 54. Okay. Done? No doubts? Okay. Then you can. So we'll stop today's class and continue the next. Probably when the next class onwards, we'll try to do in parallel, okay? Both party and part B. I'll try to give the logic like how you could write a code for any of this like algorithm what we have discussed in the class. Okay? Okay.